Where do we stand just broadly in terms of your force, how many personnel you have, and where you're looking to get to?
Well, unfortunately, we are 109 police officers. I would ideally love to get to our max, which is 171 police officers. That would definitely help us greatly. And even with those numbers, with today's challenges, we need more. But I'll start with 171.
Of course, I know every agency in the country is dealing with these types of shortages. How do you use your resources? How do you work with the shortage like that?
Definitely collaboration is important, right? So we understand that every law enforcement agency, particularly in the Twin City area, is struggling. So we have to collaborate. And reaching out to my partners, Chief O'Hara, Chief Henry in St. Paul, O'Hara in Minneapolis, and also Matt Clark, Chief Clark in the U of M. That's important that we collaborate together and we put our resources out there so that they're seen and people feel safe.
I know I watched your presentation to the Met Council, I think it was last week. In terms of crime trends, I know we've seen an increase. Just what have we seen here in the last maybe year or so?
So thank you for that question, Dan, because this is very important. I understand that in the first quarter, it appears that crime has gone up 66%. And that's true. That's factually based true on percentages. However, when you break that 66% down, and this isn't going to add up because these are just crimes, the major crimes, 38% of those crimes are drug related, followed by 22% of those crimes which are property damage. And then we have 15% assaults. But what's interesting about those assaults is a major part of that are victims that are known to their assailants. So it isn't random people being attacked. However, I'm not going to say that doesn't take place. What I'm going to say is that, like in any major city, situational awareness is important. You have to be aware of your surroundings, or you will become a victim of a crime in any major city.
Sure. I know when you mentioned the drug use, of course, very complex topic with a lot of social issues attached to it. But from your perspective, your vantage point, what are you doing to assist on that issue? What are some of your initiatives around the drug use we've seen on the transit system?
So our initiatives are to get police officers out there. OmniVision is very important. But more importantly, that when we do come across these individuals, understand my key. I'm not going to criminalize homelessness. I'm not going to criminalize chemically dependent individuals. But we will get them the resources they need. We've had several outreaches in the Mall of America. We've had it in Brooklyn Center, Transit Center. And we're going to continue to expand this to get people the help we need and to focus on the criminals that are providing the supply.
Again, there was another shooting at the Lake Street station. I know I was there for a triple shooting several months ago. Around areas like that, what are you doing to really focus on those issues that have been problems in those areas?
So I'll tell you, we did have a whole overtime detail going there for several weeks, and that worked. However, it was unsustainable, right? Putting police officers on overtime basis, it just starts stressing them personally. It takes time away from their families, right? It's not a healthy environment. It's unsustainable. So I want to repeat this. I want to do this on a voluntary basis, but I think the best course of action is what we've done. We've hired private security. We have a contract with them. We hope to have that launch in several weeks where we can supplement our police presence with the security.
You talked about the collaboration with some of the partner agencies. Just if you could expand a little more on how do you work with those other agencies on a collaborative approach?
So what we're doing is we understand that we have gaps, and we would like to do directed patrols where we have maybe Metro Transit Police Department covering our areas, then we have Minneapolis Police Department covering their areas. The third precinct would be Inspector Gomez, so we're looking to collaborate there. Then to get Hennepin County Sheriffs involved with that, as well as the state police. So we just fill in those gaps, and there's more of a presence. Are we going to be able to stop everything? No, but if we can control the behavior, that'll send a strong message.
Yeah, I was just listening to your interview on the radio yesterday, and I thought it was insightful. Just talking a little bit about perception versus reality. But you know, regardless of sort of what we're seeing statistically, there are those that are out there that say, "I don't feel safe riding transit right now." What do you say to those that are hesitant to use the system right now?
Listen, I'm going to say we're safe in numbers. I'm never going to minimize your feeling and your perception, right? Our experiences are our experiences. What I will tell you is that I personally ride the trains. I get on the buses as well. There are times when I feel uncomfortable, but I don't feel unsafe. But that's my perception. That's based on my life experience. Please come and utilize the system. We are safer in numbers. It's our community. We need to take our community back.
I know oftentimes you'll hear of the issue of open versus closed system. Would turnstiles make any difference in your mind if there was a closed turnstile system on this system?
Right, on this system, and that's very important because this system is an open system. This is how it's designed. I think there are a lot of challenges around closing the system. It's going to be studied. We'll see what that possibility is. At this time, we have to deal with the reality that the system isn't closed. And let me be clear about this. Turnstiles serve as a barrier. If I have a criminal intent, I'm still going to get by that barrier and commit my crimes. So enforcing fare evasions and enforcing property crimes, but more importantly, enforcing the code of conduct will minimize and curtail this negative behavior.
Do you know how much it might cost to transition to having turnstiles? I know there's been some talk of having it at a couple of stations right now, if you can update us on that.
There's 3 stations that we have to study. That's going to be budgeted by the governor's office. I believe it's somewhere around $53 million for a study to look into this. However, what I would say is that in studying which are going to be the best stations to enclose, we'll have to conduct surveys, right? And I don't know what the long-term effects of that study are going to be and what they're going to turn out.
Sure. Yeah, you mentioned just making sure you're enforcing the fares and that kind of thing. For those right now that are concerned that there are people getting on without paying, how are you enforcing those laws right now?
So right now we started at our 3 endpoint stations. The beginning is Target Field, which is the green and blue line. The blue line ends at Mall of America, the green line ends at Union Depot. What I'm instructing my police officers to do is at those endpoints, they're to get on the trains, sweep them with our canine detection dogs, clean them out, get maintenance on there to clean those trains out, and then stand at the fare points so they can check fare checks, conduct fare checks.
Sure. Just my last question, are you confident that you can do that? Can you recruit personnel to this department?
I will tell you right now, we have 23 candidates in background. We're hoping that we can get half of that will qualify for the position, and we'll go from there. I'm very optimistic. I believe we're building momentum, and the interest is out there. They understand there's a new chief in town. So I hope that the interest into the Metro Transit Police Department continues to grow.